I am Wendy Yeager from Orville, Alabama. I am a director on the United Soybean Board, and I really appreciate the Soy Nutrition Institute for entrusting me with this live today. I've never done a live. This is my first one, so y'all bear with me with any of the technical difficulties we have going on. But quick recap about the Soy Nutrition Institute. They share the latest soy and human health research. They relay health benefits of soy and post recipes and practical tips to Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and I would highly encourage you to check them out. A little bit about myself, in case you missed it. I'm 42 years old. My husband and I have been married. Okay, so I'm getting that y'all can see me better now. My husband for 16 years this month. We have two beautiful daughters, Casey, who is 12, and Lil, who is 10. Just a little bit of background about myself. I am a fourth generation farmer. The farm that my husband and I have, we started ourselves. I'm not a fourth generation on this land that I'm talking to you from. I grew up in South Alabama. My dad and brother still farm down there. And okay, y'all are back. I'm so sorry. The joys of living in the country. Technology is always fun here, as you can tell. But anyway, just to tell you a little bit about myself, I grew up on a farm. I'm a fourth generation farmer from South Alabama, and the land that I'm actually talking to you on, my husband and I we started this farming operation in 2007. I want to say first and foremost, I am not a dietitian. I am not someone who is a registered dietitian. But one thing that's really important that I want you to know about me is not only am I a farmer, but nutrition and health are very important to me. Okay, I'm trying to keep signal here. Okay, we're gonna try again. I'm so sorry, y'all. But health and nutrition is really important to me. I have been an aerobics instructor at the YMCA for 14 years now. At one point, I was a certified personal trainer, and I actually let my certification lapse. But health and nutrition is very important to me. I will share with you that I'm diabetic, so I am very cautious about everything that I put into my mouth. So, but again, I'm not a registered dietitian, and I just want to throw that out there. But one thing that I want to share with you today is every story has here showing you my office. A lot of you have offices with a window view. My window is through the cab of a tractor, so I'm welcoming you to my office today. As the title of this, okay, trying to move around to keep signal. I'm so sorry. As the title of this Facebook Live suggests, we want to talk about sustainability. It's very important to you. It's very important to your clients. I'm trying to keep y'all out of the wind, so bear with me so the wind is not blowing on my phone. But as the title suggests, we want to talk about sustainability. You've heard farmers say that we're doing a whole lot more with less. And that couldn't be a truer statement, simply because the reality is the basic tenet of agriculture uses more technology and leaves less up to chance now. We have to be the most efficient that we possibly can be. I can't take the chance that my visually that I'm putting what I need where I need. So I rely on technology to do that. We're producing higher yields, and we're using less pesticides and herbicides than in the past. And I know to a lot of you, that tends to be a big question, but precision ag is so helpful to us in what we do out here every day. We're growing a better quality protein while we focus on the soil health and preserving our natural resources like water and energy. So precision ag, it takes us to an even higher level of productivity on the farm. A few ways that we are growing a sustainable soy source for you on the farm, and all farmers across the United States are doing things like this. We grow cover crops in the wintertime, in the off season, and whatever crop we may be growing. Crop rotation is very important to us. We have a pretty strict crop rotation here on our farm. We do no-till farming. I mean, I'm standing in some soybeans that are no-tilled in behind winter wheat, and we'll talk about that more here in a few moments. As I mentioned earlier about the technology, precision planting, we do grid sampling. So we put fertilizer in the field only where we need it. We're a 100% dry land operation, which means we don't have pivots. We don't have the ability to water when we need it. We have to completely depend on the good Lord. But there are a lot of farmers who have pivots, so they can put water out when they need it. As a farmer, some of our biggest challenges come through weather. As I mentioned earlier, and I don't know who all got to hear this because the technology has been giving me trouble this morning, but a hurricane's been coming. So we've been going crazy around here trying to hold what we can, and I'm going to turn the camera and hope that it doesn't knock us off. But if you can see in the distance over there, I got two peanut trailers sitting in the distance, and we've actually been harvesting peanuts. We've been trying to get those out just because of the hurricane heading our way, and that's another protein that we grow here on the farm. Obviously we're talking about soy today, but that's another protein that we grow here on the farm besides soybeans. Back to the cover crops that I was talking about earlier. So this field that I'm standing in is no-tilled in behind wheat, which means, because I had a really good question off of my teaser that I did on Wednesday, these soybeans were no-tilled in behind winter wheat. Winter wheat is planted in November and harvested in late May, early June. So that crop is gone, and it leaves behind wheat straw, which we come in. We do not work the dirt. We just plant straight in to that crop and double crop it, hence the name, double crop soybeans, and have another crop. Now the question was from Susan. She had asked if there was any problems with cross-contamination between those two crops because of a concern of celiac disease, and that was actually a really good question. And I can assure you that there are no issues with cross-contamination, and the reason for that is because the wheat crop is taken off in May, or late May, early June, and then this crop would not be harvested until late October or sometime in November. These beans that we're standing in won't be harvested until November. Any residual grain that was left that might header loss or might have fallen out during harvest in May would rot, or the birds would eat it before harvest of the soybeans in October or November. Not to mention that a lot of these crops are anything that enters the food chain. I can't express to y'all how safe our food chain is here in the United States. It undergoes rigorous cleaning. So, there's no chance of cross contamination. So that was a great question that Susan had. And let me say this, please feel free to post your questions if you want to wait till I'm closing my closing remarks, which will be here in just a minute. And if I don't see your question when you ask me, post it again, because I'm having trouble with technology out here in the field this morning. But before we move on to something else, I did want to show you, I've got a few visual aids, and you'll have to bear with me because I've had to move stuff around because keeping my phone to where we've got signal. So if you heard me talk about we were harvesting if you heard me talk about we're currently harvesting peanuts, one of the things that is really important to us is building our organic matter in our soil, and it goes back to that sustainability conversation. If you can see here, these are the peanut vines. So when they're run through the machine, they go back on the ground, and this helps us build up our organic matter, and it also gives us a little kick of nitrogen in the soil. So when I come behind these peanuts and plant wheat, I've already got a little bit of fertilizer there. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because I can actually hold this in my hand right now. But after we harvest these soybeans that I'm standing in, the same principle happens. So after these beans are run through the machine, just like the peanut vines, the stalks of the stalks of the soybean plant will be shredded and put back onto the ground to give us fertilizer and organic matter. Now, I've got a few stages of beans here I want to show you, and you'll have to bear with me because this is the greenest I have. So this soybean plant that I'm holding here is actually from the field we're standing in, and I don't know how well you can see, but the pods are still nice and green. We've still got a lot of green leaf, and these beans are still filling out. So we're still several weeks out from these beans even being close to being harvestable. Now, as the beans mature, these are some of our single crop beans, which means single crop means it'll be the only crop that I harvest off those acres this year. So these beans were planted in May, and as you can see, the leaves are starting to turn and they're starting to fall off. And if you look at the pods on these, they're starting to get a little bit darker, and the actual bean on the inside is separating out from each other. And give it a little time, and it's going to look like this one. So as you can see, comparing the two, this one has lost its leaves, and the pods are actually starting to, I don't know if you can hear that, but they're starting to have a little crunch to them. The beans are getting harder on the inside, and probably in a couple weeks we'll be harvesting these. I've actually got a couple other crops I've got to get out of the field before I can harvest these, but this is a good example of what they will look like when they get closer to harvest. So just to me, there's nothing like a visual aid and being able to see what somebody's trying to describe to you. So when it comes to sustainability, each of us play an important role from the farmer to the consumer. My farming practices here allow me to decrease carbon emissions and contribute to a sustainable food supply by focusing on preserving our soil, our water, and our air. I can ensure that the next generation of farmers had the opportunity to do the same thing. It's extremely important to me as a mom to be able to leave a legacy to my daughters. So, that's important to me. I want to look back and say that I did everything I could to leave this ground in better shape than I found it when we bought this place. So, soil health is extremely important to me. I want to take care of the land, because if I don't take care of it, it's not going to take care of me. Sustainability and health are becoming more and more intertwined. Each of you are squarely focused on the health of your patients and your clients, and I want to assure you, and I want you to feel confident that soy not only provides high quality protein to support optimal health, but it's being grown in a sustainable way that you can feel safe, that you have no worries about where your food comes from. There are farm families all over the United States that put their heart and soul into their farming operation every single day. And I'm one of those. I'm not the norm, especially here where I live. You don't see a woman running a farm full time, because if you missed it in the beginning, my husband has a full-time job off the farm. So this 1,066 acres, this is my office every day. We don't have any full-time employees, and it's just me. So I can tell you that there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in these acres and producing this quality product of protein on our farm, on all the crops that we grow. And that's why companies like Kellogg, Soylent, Danone North America, Impossible Foods, DuPont, there's so many, I can't even name them all, but they choose soy grown here in the United States, and they use this source because they know that American farmers can consistently supply and deliver these products to them when they need them. So, if you're looking for, something that's healthy and a high quality product, I really want you to encourage you to, focus on soy and what we can provide for you. I'm proud to be an American farmer, and most importantly, I'm proud to be an American soybean farmer. My heart is in what I do every day, and I want you to have full confidence in what I grow that's coming to you is it's the best of the best. There's no other country that can compete with us, with our protein and what we can consistently provide. So I thank y'all for listening to me. I thank you for coming and visiting Bell Place Farm this morning. And if y'all want to start posting questions, I'll do my best to answer any questions that you may have. My phone may be kind of slow in posting. Okay, great question, Casey. How have my sustainability practices changed over the years? That's a great question. So they've changed a lot in the last 10 years of farming. I've seen us go, just the precision ag in itself. We used to apply fertilizer the same amount of pounds per acre over the whole field, where now we have grid sampling, where we come in and do soil samples on 2.5 acre plots, and we only put the fertilizer where we need it. So that's cost saving. That keeps us from having to put something out there that we don't need. We used to work all of our dirt. We used to work all of our ground. We used to do conservation tillage over everything, and now we do a lot of no-till. We've seen an increase in our organic matter. It helps us conserve moisture in the summertime when we have experienced some drought situations. There's so many benefits. I could go on and on about how we've changed our practices over the years and seen so many benefits to that. So I hope that answered your question. Okay, what advice would you give to dietitians who want to learn more about farming and agriculture? Us farmers, we tell our story best. You can see all sorts of things on the internet, but if you've got a farmer in your area, I would highly encourage you to go talk to them. Ask questions. I have people, when I show up in carpool line to pick up my kids, I get a lot of questions about farming and what I do and how I do it. Just farmers, we're people just like everybody else. And me personally, I don't mind sharing my story. I don't mind showing what I do every day. I don't mind sharing with others how we do what we do. I have a true passion for ag education. So, just talk to a farmer. I mean, I'm sure there are other people in your area that you could probably talk to, but I would encourage you to just talk to a farmer. Any other questions? Let's see. Some of the others, I think I've missed some. Let me go back. Yes, very good comment. Most people don't have a clue how hard farmers work. Yes, during harvest season, I am trying to juggle being a mom. I am trying to keep a house. I'm trying to keep everybody fed. I'm trying to, harvest a crop, make sure kids are doing homework, that they have clean clothes, and I sort of have a different perspective than the daddy. The daddy works just as hard as this mama, but I look at things differently because I have a different role in the household. My husband works just as hard as I do, but I truly have a different perspective of farming, and it is hard work. I mean, my day usually starts, just to answer that question, it usually, sometimes we get up at 4:45, but by 5 a.m. my feet are on the floor. It depends on if my husband has projects going on at the station where he works. He's the director of the Auburn University Black Belt Experiment Station. They have a lot of cattle and a few test plots there. But, my day starts at 5 and it ends at 10:30, 11 o'clock. I mean, I'm excited if I'm in bed by 10:30 at night. So, yes, farmers work extremely hard, and we put a lot of heart and soul into the crops that we produce that wind up in the food chain. Let's see, any other questions? I'm looking, y'all. Okay, do all farmers use the same sustainability practices? That's a very good question. And yes and no. That depends on where you live. All of us have different environments that we work in. Therefore, our sustainability practices here are not going to be the same as somewhere else. Here in the state of Alabama, we deal with a lot of humidity issues. We have a lot of disease issues. There are so many environmental factors that go into that. So we all try to do things that are going to leave less of a carbon footprint. So we don't want to make that extra trip through the field if we don't have to. So, we all utilize, the majority of farmers utilize GPS technology at this point. There's a few that probably don't, but they probably don't farm large scale acres. It's probably smaller to where it's not as big of an issue. Whereas me, if, for example, on my peanuts that I've been digging last week, if I didn't have my GPS technology, there's the potential that I could be leaving a couple 100 pounds of peanuts in the field. I don't want to do that, because that means I spent the time and the money to grow that crop. I want it all in the basket. I want it all going to the buying point. So I utilize that technology to help me be efficient. Whereas, someone out west, peanuts don't matter to them because they don't grow peanuts out there. So that's just a way to kind of, they may use precision ag, and obviously they do, but it's a different place. So it's a different scenario for everybody. I hope that answered your question. Let's see. Okay. What sort of precautions do you need to take for hurricanes for your crops and equipment? Great question. So, as I had mentioned in the beginning, got a hurricane heading our way. And so sometimes there's nothing we can do. The position that we're in right now, we have been trying to get peanuts up off the ground as quickly as possible. We've been trying to get them harvested. In the past, that hasn't happened. We could just dig them and let them stay on top of the ground, and then we'd have to come back in after the rain and the ground dried out to get them up. So, you know, each situation and scenario is different. For instance, our cotton. I forgot, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but the crops that we grow here are cotton, peanuts, grain sorghum or milo, soybeans, and wheat. And so, you know, obviously each one of those crops is different. Soybeans, there's not anything we can do in preparation for a hurricane. We can just hope and pray that the winds aren't going to be too heavy and blow our crop on the ground. The cotton, for instance, we were supposed to defoliate cotton this week, which means we put a plant hormone on the plant, which removes the leaves and gets us prepared for picking. And we didn't do that because we knew we had rain and wind coming. So we wanted to keep those leaves on there to sort of help protect the plant. Sometimes there's not anything we can do. You know, our equipment, we put it under the barn and we pray for the best. Literally, we are at mercy of Mother Nature all the time, because the one thing that I can't change is the weather. And I had somebody tell me a long time ago, I cannot worry about the things I cannot control. So I just have to deal with those the best way that I know how. Let's see. So I hope that answered your question. See if there's any more on here that I've missed. Anybody else got a question? If you've got a question that I didn't see, y'all post it again for me. But I'm looking just to make sure. Okay. So there's a crop questions, who I sell my crops to. Okay. So, soybeans on our farm, and then let me just say, this is not a plug for anybody in particular. I'm just going to tell you how we do things here. That doesn't mean that that's like the standard, because again, different places, different strokes for different folks. But our soybeans here, they will be put on a truck and they will go to North Alabama, to Decatur, where Bunge, we have a contract with Bunge, and so all of our soybeans are actually sold to Bunge, and that's actually a crushing facility up there, which is kind of cool because they make all sorts of things from the soy that we produce here. Our peanuts actually go to a buying point down in South Alabama, which is in Wilmer, Alabama, and then those would be sold to various places. Our cotton is marketed through an organization called Staple Cotton, and you know, they obviously are ginned, they're put into bales, and then they will go to various places, you know, for thread, to be spun for thread that go into shirts, socks, underwear, t-shirts, blue jeans, go all sorts of different places. Our milo that we grow actually goes to chicken feed. And what am I leaving out? I think that's, and our wheat, we have sold also, it also goes to Decatur. There's a flour mill up there that we have sold to in the past, but have actually had good luck selling it locally here the last couple crops that we've grown. So, let's see. Okay. How much of our soybeans are going to animal feed and consumption, and do I export a lot? Okay, so when I sell my beans to Bunge, I don't specifically know I don't specifically know where it goes. You know, they make several products up there. You know, they extract oil, they crush it for the meal, which does go to animal feeds. So an interesting fact about that, I'm going to throw this in really quick. So not where I'm located here in West Central Alabama, we are in an area that there are a lot of catfish farmers. And so about 30 miles from me is a catfish feed mill, which means they produce feed for the catfish that are fed here in our area. And so what's kind of cool is our beans go to North Alabama, and the bean meal is brought back down here to make catfish food. When our wheat goes to North Alabama, the wheat midds, which is the outside of the wheat grain, when they're going through the process of making flour, are also sold and brought back down here to the feed mill in Uniontown, Alabama. So that's kind of a cool fact about that. As far as export, you know, again, I don't know specifically where my beans go when they leave here, but I sort of know the circle of how things go down as far as from point A to point B. So I can't give you a percentage on that, so I apologize. Let's see. Any other questions that I've missed? Let's see, let me go back down here to the bottom. Any other questions? Yes, I am on social media. I am on Instagram. I am on Facebook. I don't have a Twitter account. I know that I've had several people tell me that because I do post a lot of videos, educational type stuff from the farm. I actually post a lot of stuff from the cab of a tractor. So, but I am on Facebook, and I am on Instagram, and I'm in the process of trying to get a farm page just specifically for the farm started. So hopefully I can get that completed. It may take me until after harvest to get that done, but that way I can share more ag education with everyone. Let's see. Any other questions for me? You know, again, I really appreciate y'all taking time out of your day to come to my office. I apologize in the beginning about the whole getting kicked offline, but that's just something we have to deal with here in the country. Technology is always it's always interesting. So anyway, I hope everybody will check out the Soy Nutrition Institute. They have lots of great information that they can share with you. And if you have any other questions, feel free to post those on here, and I think they can probably get those to me if needed. But I hope everybody has a wonderful Friday. I just want to throw in that I'm praying for all these farmers down in Mississippi and Louisiana as they're being faced with this hurricane that's heading their direction. You know, it steered away from us, but that doesn't mean that it's good for somebody else in the ag community. So my thoughts and prayers are with those guys, because they too have been trying to get all their crops out of the field. So happy Friday, everybody. I hope that y'all have a wonderful weekend. And again, y'all check out the Soy Nutrition Institute. And main thing I want you to take away from today is I want you to realize that soy is a powerful protein that we produce here on the farm. You know, I can't put into words how much of my heart and soul goes into what I grow. So thank you so much for your time, and see y'all later.